There is one practice that if you can learn to consistently implement in your business, it'll change the entire direction. It'll allow you to accomplish crazy goals that you never thought were possible. And that is to make data-driven decisions. It sounds super boring for any of the heart-led, passion-driven, type A personality entrepreneurs out there watching. Looking at data and looking at numbers and looking at spreadsheets might be the most boring thing in the world for you. But when the data is coming from your customers, the people consuming your content, the people who you're ultimately selling to, and you get insights into them, it can make a dramatic shift in how you see your business, how you operate your company, and how much money you start to make. I'm a big believer that you make the big decisions in life with the heart, and the small ones with the head. Big decisions with the heart, small ones with the head. The heart is, why do you do what you do? Why have you started this business? Why is it so important to you? What is the mission you're trying to solve, right? So for me, I want to solve the world's biggest problem. I want people to believe in themselves more. That's the heart. There's no science attached to it. It's just heart. It's just art. The heart is art, right? It's just creation. And I love tapping into that side. And then the small decisions with the head, in that the things that I do have to work, otherwise I just have a hobby, right? If you're only doing art and it has no value to other people, you're not talking to customers, you're not gauging reactions, you're not seeing how you can get better, then you just have a hobby that doesn't pay you, right? Which can be fulfilling. Not everything has to pay you, but if the goal is to have a business, then yeah, you have to get paid. Otherwise you don't have a company for very long. If you're only listening to the customer data and you're only looking for opportunities, but you don't actually like the thing, then you're also gonna lose, right? Because you're just chasing demand, but you're not curious enough about it. You don't care enough about it. You don't have enough heart for it. Example, in my business, if I were to make the top 10 stupidest things X person has ever said, that data-wise would blow up. Because people would rather consume negativity and poke fun at somebody and try to tear somebody down than to learn and try to improve their own life. In general, it's so much easier to laugh and poke fun at somebody else and criticize somebody else instead of working on ourselves to become better, right? Entertainment versus education. Entertainment is a lot easier to consume than education because it requires more work on your part. So I could do that, and the data would say, hey, go make these videos. They will do better. But it doesn't match my heart. I don't want to do that. So the heart gets the veto power, but you have to still listen to the brain, right? So big decisions with the heart, small ones with the brain. So let's bring it back to data-driven decisions. A lot of people struggle with it because they don't know how to make data-driven decisions. They don't know what numbers to look at. They don't know how to collect the information. They get, quite frankly, bored of looking at the information, the data. And so then they make subjective opinions and often make the wrong ones. Yesterday, I'm on a call with a team of somebody super well known. Huge presence. You would know his name. You've heard it inside out. I've profiled him millions of times, on my own channel. That kind of narrows it down, but I'm not going to tell you who. So I'm on a call with his team, and we're looking at some of his YouTube videos, and the goal is to reach even more people on YouTube. Great. So we looked at one of the thumbnails, and his team said, well, he picked this thumbnail. Like, yeah, but this thumbnail is just not going to work. Like, this thumbnail sucks. From a best practice, from everything I've seen, from doing 12,000 split tests on YouTube thumbnails, like, this is, with a very high degree of certainty, not a good thumbnail in terms of getting impact, getting more people to click on it, getting more people to view it. And the team said, yeah, but he picked that thumbnail. I agree with you, Evan. I don't like it either, but he picked that thumbnail. Okay, well, here's how you combat that situation. What is his ultimate goal? His ultimate goal is to have more impact. His ultimate goal is to reach more people, right? Probably. Let's, make sure we get that right. If his mom on her deathbed said, you have to use this as my thumbnail, okay, great. There's a reason other than business for picking that thumbnail. But if the goal of this video, if we can agree that the goal of this video is to try to reach as many people as possible, to spread your message as wide as possible, yes, perfect. Let me help you do that. The challenge becomes it's one person's subjective opinion against another's. And the person who's in charge is almost always going to win that fight, right? If the person who's at the top says, I want this, And then somebody underneath says, but I think this would be better. And there's no data to support anything. It's just one subjective opinion against another. The person at the top usually wins. So I said, okay, here's what you do. You agree that the goal is to get as many views on the video as possible. In an ethical, honest way. We're not clickbaiting. We're not doing something against the brand. Let's split test it. So here's what you want to do. Here's an idea that I've got. Let's split test it for 2 weeks and see what happens. And what I've always found is that people will listen to the data when they feel like you're on the same page, when they feel like you're fighting for the same goal as them. Because if you can then show him that, hey, this video, this is the case that you bring. This video, if I change the thumbnail, did twice as good, right? It does twice as, 2x's, twice better, whatever. It doubles the impact, right? If you could bring, by changing just the thumbnail, same video, by changing the thumbnail, you can get twice as many views. Here's the data to show you, not just my subjective opinion, but here's the data to show you. Here's yours, here's what it did. Here's the one that we tried for 2 weeks. Just let me try it for 2 weeks. Here's what we tried for 2 weeks. Double the views, double the impact. What do you prefer? You tell me what's more important. Do you still want to go with that because it, again, you have some other reason for it? And this isn't said in a condescending way. It's like, hey, help me understand. This thumbnail that we tried, double the performance. Which one do you want to go with? And they always go with the one that gets better results. The challenge is when you're bringing the idea, it's just your opinion. And they will almost always trust their opinion over your opinion until you come with the data. I would love to be wrong on my opinions. Now, as you get more data, as you do more, as you get more experience, your opinions start to get more and more right. But I would still love to be wrong. I would still love for someone to come in and fix my thumbnails. You know, we've done 12,000 plus experiments. I would love for somebody to come in and say, hey, Evan, your thumbnails suck. And people do all the time. They DM me and say, hey, Evan, I can fix your thumbnails. Okay, great. Let's run a test. And as long as it's not completely off brand, like they put my face on a tree or something, like as long as it's not completely off brand, we run it as a test. Nobody's been able to beat my current thumbnails, but I'm open. You know, I definitely don't think that what we're doing right now is the final version. And it requires more innovation. But it's not just me thinking about it. I want to prove that it works. And so, you know, I told his team, that's the game plan. Don't just update it. Run a split test and show that it works. And then bring the data. Because then what's going to happen is he's going to trust you on the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Because you're coming with the data to prove that what you're doing is actually having an impact. So how can you apply this to your business? A couple things. One, for yourself, you trust your heart. Yes, you trust your gut. Yes, that's where you make the big decisions. But you have to still listen to your head or the people around you who might be the voice of reason or the brain to say, okay, but now how can we tweak what you're doing? Keep the same heart, but tweak some of the path that we take to get there, because the path is going to change a million times. Where you're going, the destination is fixed, but the path to get there is going to change a million times. And so being open to listening to a faster way to get there, because all you should care about is where we are going. I want to solve the world's biggest problem. Where are you going? What are you creating? What's your mission? And being dead focused on that, and that does not change. But how we get there, if we're walking right now and you give me a horse and I can ride there, let's go on the horse. And then you give me a car, let's drive. You give me a jet plane, let's fly, right? Not being attached to how you get there as long as you're making progress to getting there. And so being open to the way that you're doing it might be completely wrong. Might be completely wrong. Will likely force you to grow stronger, to step outside your comfort zone, to do new things that you haven't done before, to become the better you. You're going to have to get to where you want to go faster. And so it's just being open to it. Whether it's you yourself forcing it on yourself, whether it's people around you giving you recommendations, instead of just dismissing it out of hand and saying, no, that'll never work. How about you try it? How about you try it for a day? How about you try it for a week? How about you try it for a month? See what happens. And if the data comes back and says, no, it didn't work, this is perfect. Another failed experiment. Most of my experiments fail. Great, but at least you tried. And in the event that even if 80% of the experiments that you try fail, you still got 20% that are winning. And in that 20% is the next great rocket fuel to massively explode you forward towards accomplishing your goal. Data-driven decisions is a boring topic. You know, some people might love it, but some people hate it. It's super boring. But if you can wrap your head around it, that you've got this big mission, but that you don't have the perfect plan, and that you're willing to listen to the data, listen to your customers, listen to your team, and at least experiment and try to see if those ideas help move you closer to your goal. If you can start to make that a regular practice inside your company, everything will start to change.
If you want another Evan Rant video that just might give you the confidence you need, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Books give you access to mentors who you would never have access to. If you are struggling thinking, I don't have connections, I don't know anybody who's had success, I don't have any good mentors. Everybody talks about mentorship and how important it is.